off we go.
Off we go, eh? Well, it's been a bit, hasn't it? It's 2 weeks. Did we miss one last week?
Yeah, we missed one last week. It was...
we were answering... I was answering all the hate mail about Oasis.
It was half term, so just
difficult
to negotiate that with the...
For those of you with children out there, will know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. I know there isn't, but there just seems to be more school holidays than they ever were. Maybe it's because from a parent's angle, when it means more kind of more interruption, you know.
Well, when you're a kid and you go back to school and you go, when's the next holiday? And they go, it's 6 weeks away. You go, oh God, as a kid, and then as an adult, you go, when's the next holiday? School holiday? 6 weeks. You go, oh no, 6 weeks. Can't go with 12 weeks.
It's I think in other countries they don't have the half term. They just crack on, but then have longer gaps. I could be totally wrong there. Americans
smacking things up again, aren't we?
Americans make a massive deal of spring break, like
woo.
They sort of. I hear that mentioned more in.
Is that like summer holidays?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it does. Is that when like the like with the school system in America kind of like resets and people move up here, because the way spring break is on, you know, they go on about spring break.
Oh yeah, they go away, don't they, on holiday and stuff.
Popular culture, it's way more kind of
all the Chad Hogans and all that.
Yeah, spring break, yo.
Woo, Chad Hogan.
To Myrtle Beach.
It looks like fun, to be honest. It's better than the beach at Heysham anyway, with the old power station.
Yeah, with the nuclear effluent. You know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
flowing out into the.
The dog turds. Well, that's we won't get it. That's another podcast altogether. Don't get me started on that. Fucking United Utilities. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Awful, isn't it? Late Windermere. They've ruined it, haven't they? I saw a video last week. Lee Mack, of all people, made a video. Being interviewed by on the news, Sky News, something like that. And he was saying about how disgusting it is and how United Utilities have made £300 million for or 30 million or £300 million for their shareholders and put £19 million
unreal
back into and he's going, well, surely you should be fixing the problem before you're paying your shareholders millions of pounds, surely. You know, and the United Utilities are trying to blame farmers and people with septic tanks. It's like, are you fucking for real?
And this is water we're talking about as well. It's like, it's private, isn't it? You know, if it's shareholders and that, you know, then it's not a government kind of thing. It's it's a for profit kind of business. And this is the water that we're drinking. You know, it's
awful,
unreal. It's unreal.
Turds the lot, isn't it? Thousands and thousands of hours of bloody effluent going into the Lake Windermere.
Yeah. Fuck you! And it's not. Yeah. And the water bill as well has gone. I don't know about yours, but my water bill. I'm not on a meter or anything. And I don't think we use a lot of water. We have like one bath a fortnight, you know.
I have a stand-up wash in my backyard, whether I need it or not.
Yeah. We like to keep clean, but it's not cheap. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's about £700 a year.
The old water bill,
yeah, something like that. I'm paying it either. I think I'm paying it half a year, and I pay about 300 and something every 6 months.
Council pop.
So it's, you know, sort it out. I can't believe we're talking about utilities. You know,
we've gone head first into a territory we know nothing about, really. Well, spending money, we know plenty about that, don't we? Because
and dirty water,
dirty water. Status
Quo
song called Dirty Water.
I used to love that song.
It's a brilliant song, isn't it?
The water's getting deep. It's Ginger Wilder covered it, I think, on his latest album. Yeah,
it's a brilliant song. It's a brilliant song.
It is a great song. Yeah.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about turds
and the shocking state of the UK economy or
any of that shit, because we don't want to.
You hear enough of that every day.
Anyway, want to talk today about an interesting topic. I think it's a topic that we sort of fall into it really, and we get accosted about it. And it's never really bothered me, is people's views on bands that cover lots of genres. Maybe we do it over the course of an album, really. We're guilty of that. I've never seen a problem with it. But some bands change genres, if you like, over the course of the career, album to album, don't they?
Yeah.
And then you got artists now, the biggest artists in the world are kind of genreless, aren't they? Because I think the people that run it, run the game kind of thing, the managers and whoever else. Why would you pigeonhole yourself to appealing to only one group of people? Like your Post Malone. So that guy's written is metal, rock, country.
Yeah.
You name it, that guy's done it. It's Taylor Swift, pop, country.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, pop, country, rock, metal.
There's a lot more overlap in everything now.
A lot, isn't there?
Yeah. And but like I guess we're talking about this now because we're at the start of a new album cycle where we're writing again. And every album we write, it's not. I don't think it's a deliberately conscious thing. You just end up being conscious of it, and like you mentioned about what kind of band we are. I guess we could be defined as a punk rock band or classic rock band. We won't go into that again. We've already done that one, but maybe with metal kind of influences. It's really odd, but from a marketing point of view, all these acts you name, they might, when you listen to the music, they cross all these boundaries. But then when it comes to the marketing, they almost seem to be targeted at a certain specific kind. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just kind of neater that way, really.
Yeah. Well, maybe they focus their maybe they seem to focus like a proportion of their career. So, for instance, like Taylor Swift, she'll be on a country thing or something, and she'll just be writing country songs, and it'll be that part of her career will be. And I suppose when she's in that part of her career, or Post Malone is on a metal thing, he's doing something with Ozzy, he'll be with the metal stuff. It's easy to market, isn't it? But we kind of don't do ourselves any favours sometimes by. We cut it down even further, don't we? And our albums are like a bit of a mismatch, aren't they? Which some people like. I don't. I like that, and I've always kind of prided myself and ourselves on doing that because I don't really know any other bands that do that, and I like it myself.
Musical magpies.
Magpies, yeah.
Taking stuff from here and
do you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
And some people don't get it, and they don't like it, and they think we can't sell this, we can't put you on a festival, don't know what to do with you. Are you a country band? Are you a metal band? Punk band?
Where I think we've fallen down a bit is if you listen to the last album or two, the latest two albums, I think they're definitely more. They still have all these kind of diverse, influences, but the production really, it's down to the production, has kind of tied it all in a nice, neat package together. However, the first couple of albums, the couple of albums before them, were a lot more. Higgledy-piggledy, I guess. They're a
bit more disjointed.
In particular, Full Nelson that we did in 2018, I think that album for me is the one where if we do sound, like a bit, that to me has always been the album where we've sounded a little bit, not confused, but you know what I mean? It's like, well, I can't really, you could listen to one song on the album and then pick another song off the same album and be like, I can't believe these are on the same album.
Well, it's the same band. But it's never been... It's weird because it's never been a problem. It might sound like we don't know. It might sound like we're confused and don't know who we are, but we couldn't. It couldn't be any less confused when you're writing them, could you? It's excitement all the time. It's like listen to this riff. Oh, I fucking love it. This country riff. Listen to this. Or brilliant. Let's write that song. That's ace, and we'll love it. It's not like oh no, what's this? We don't know what we're doing. Maybe we should do this.
Yeah, we can't do that.
And then you'll come up with a rock riff or a whatever metal riff, and it's like yes, let's like that as well.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty sure that our sound and style has been strong enough to put our stamp on each of those songs. That connects the songs together.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a very good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like we throw all these influences in the pot, but then ultimately it's going to sound like you singing it. It's going to be me and Steve's guitars. It's going to be Alex's drums, Bowser's bass, and that inevitably sort of tightens it all up a bit. But I think the production is where the trick is to making it sound
the magic
like more,
sauce.
I guess so. It's like having all the ingredients and then making a meal that doesn't taste like some random concoction of
fill it full of MSG.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and then it tastes all right.
But yeah, I mean, other bands, I guess. So some examples of bands then that have kind of do radically.
Before we move on, I mean, also, something else that we have to consider a lot, and we do take a lot of time over it, and I think that helps us a lot in getting away with having lots of different styles of songs and albums. Maybe is where you put them on the album in the order.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah.
That makes a big difference. So if you've got, like we do, we write slow songs, country style songs, maybe you'd say, and metal songs. If you put all the ones at the beginning that were one sort, and then all the end, it wouldn't sound right. You've got to make it flow, make the album work.
Yeah. Well, if we're being honest here, we're all friends, aren't we? I've never really been
United Utilities. You're not.
the last couple of albums, really. Maybe House of Noise wasn't so bad, but Triggered is not that's not the order of songs I'd have used.
No. Well, there is that. And
not that we only write them and record them. What do we get to?
No, we don't.
What do we know? There's loads of factors at work here. I've never been a fan of stacking all the singles.
At the beginning,
I hate that. And it's been a bit of a sticking point for me, really. It always seems to end up that way. You always end up kind of, it's not going to be like that, and then
it is.
What's the next single? Oh, it's that one. And then you sort of pick the track list before you pick the singles, or maybe there's a bit of wiggle room in it. But I've just never been a fan of that, really. I don't know. It almost seems like you're sort of going, here are the only songs that you need to care about. Forget about the rest of the album.
Yeah.
I know it's not. I know it's not the case, but
it's a bit of a weak attitude, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like, doesn't put much faith in your music, does it?
And it's like albums. Going back to what you said, should be treated as a whole. They might make sense in context between that song. Might seem a bit odd, but when it's put between that song and that song,
it sounds good.
It sounds great.
It fits well. Yeah. Maybe that's the business. Maybe albums don't mean as much to people anymore. Do people listen to old school rock fans do a lot, don't they? Stick an album on and listen to it.
Well, that's how we. I'm sure you, and that's how we think. It's got to make sense from the start to finish.
Yeah,
and that is definitely a. I've got to be careful how I word this. I was going to say, like acoustic instruments kind of way of looking at it. You don't really tend to find that, I find, in pop and electronic kind of music.
Right.
It's more like when it's a band,
Yeah.
I was going to say real musicians, but I thought I better not say that. No, I didn't mean that. I meant like bands where the songwriters are the band rather than some external songwriter in bloody Nashville or whatever, and they've just given this one song, and it's all coming from different directions. We're involved in the process 100% from the start to the finish, and that inevitably means putting the songs in an order that kind of makes sense to us as the songwriters and as where it started from.
Yeah.
But other parties involved in the releasing of albums don't they just think, put that song there, put all the singles at the beginning so that keep people's interest up, and it's like, it doesn't.
It's not. They take away it's part of the art, isn't it? Putting them. It's part of the package. It's part of your painting. It's like, you wouldn't tell Vincent van Gogh what frame to put his pictures in, would you?
No, you would not.
I'm not comparing ourselves to Vincent van Gogh, but you know what I mean. It'll get to the final thing, and then you go, all right, let's laminate it.
You wouldn't
stick it on the wall with blue tack. Yeah.
You wouldn't tell Lewis Hamilton what wheel trims to.
No, you wouldn't. No,
stick on his McLaren. Would you?
What air freshener to have in his car?
McLaren, Mercedes.
I don't fucking know. I don't watch it. Cack, boring. Well, it is now anyway.
It is boring now.
It used to be great.
It did used to be good.
Well, Michael Schumacher ranging people off the track and stuff.
Yeah, the dirty bastard. He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Okay, now he's always involved in some flipping debate. Anyway, we're getting
straight off the topic. But yeah, so yeah, from a personal kind of perspective, that's why I guess we sort of talk about this, because the struggle is real. We do have a real...
Yeah, let us know what you think about it. I don't know if it bothers people. It's just kind of always been the thing we've done, in it. I know the first. I mean, you can see it a little bit in the first couple of albums, but yeah, like you say, Full Nelson was the first album that it was really more evident, wasn't it? But we have come up against a few brick walls over the years. But we've always buzzed at people. We always like the fact that people always like different tracks on the album. Our albums are always, people always like, that's my favourite, that's my favourite, that's my favourite, and there's always a different song. And I've always liked that.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I from a personal point of view, I'd hate to be in a band that had no flex whatsoever. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Completely stuck within one boundary, and it might, even if you get colossally successful doing that. Well, I don't know. I can't really say that, but you know what? Because I've never been colossally successful, but. Like
you're a colossal.
I'd hate to be the the kind of band that would feel so restricted in what you kind of can't.
Well,
do.
it must be even worse if you're a band and you sort of start out and then you start writing the music, and you're sort of tackling a genre, and you for instance, say you go down the AC/DC kind of route, the straight up rock music. And you start to do all right, you sell a few albums, and then it just stops, and then it just sort of halts, and you can't go any further. Maybe careers, you're not getting the breaks, you're not getting the shows, whatever. Where are you going to go?
Yeah,
you've already put yourself in a box. You do anything, you do anything too drastic after a divert away from what you've been doing. You're basically starting from the beginning again, and you're going to lose even more fans. So I never understood why we never wanted to sort of pigeonhole ourselves.
Well, I think it's because we're songwriters first and foremost, or I consider ourselves to be that, and I dare say there's other bands out there that I love. To use an example, Airborne. I would say they're a live band first and foremost.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Absolutely.
That is their absolute bread and butter.
I would say they would 100% tell you that as well.
Yeah, they would. I'm not. I don't mean that as a. I'm not. I'm not throwing shade or any of that. Whatever the youth say, it is literally like that is what they do, and so they do that relentless rock and roll energy kind of thing. As good as it can possibly be done.
Yeah.
And that's the music to complement that. So you don't expect that really, but I kind of like to think we, are pushing things a little bit, on the songwriting front.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it doesn't, mean we have a little bit more freedom, but it makes sense for some bands to stay in their lane and
stick
do what
to
they
the
do.
guns.
That's my point really. But and some other bands then that have made kind of radical kind of changes as they've gone. Can you think of any?
Well, Metallica's a big one, isn't it? I mean, I know it's not completely. They've made a couple of albums, haven't they, that have been a bit left field, if you like.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
They've gone well off the sort of. Well, I know all bands do change gradually over time, don't they? That's natural, isn't it? You naturally do. But they have made a couple of albums that have been quite drastic.
Yeah,
drastically departed from what people expected, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't remember because I was 2. But when
I was probably about 22.
when the Metallica, the Black Album come out, that was too much for a lot of people.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Looking back now, you wouldn't think so, would you?
No, well, but when the last thing they did before that was And Justice for All, I guess you put them two together.
Was it that or was it Ride the Lightning?
No, it was Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All, Black Album.
Right. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it was. Well, they sold out, did they? I'm assuming that's the.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
that was the sellout.
Basically. Yeah, they did sell out every bloody stadium in the world.
Yeah. What are they thinking?
Yeah.
I never got that either. I never got that. I never ever got that. You support a band and you support them because you want to see them do well and get successful, and then all you do when they get successful is fucking moan about it.
Yeah, well.
I'm not saying you guys do, but you get it. You see it, don't you? You fucking see it. I don't get that at all. I'd be happy, mega happy for them. Like,
well, I'm sure they were. I mean, they
they don't care what anyone else thinks, really. Do they?
Colossal album, and I really don't know how any rock music, loud rock music fan can not like that. Forget that it's the same band that did wrote Call of Cthulhu and all that kind of stuff. Those songs are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's just it's a weird thing. But anyway, yeah, and then they went on to do like Load and Reload, which are a lot more...
again,
They kind of moved with the times a little bit.
Isolated themselves even more with them albums, didn't they?
You could see the grunge influence come in for those albums.
Yeah.
There's barely any guitar... Well, there's a few guitar solos, but certainly not like, they used to be. And
they're not epic songs, are they?
Nah, they're not.
Big, long...
they're kind of more...
Like a hard rock band now, really.
Yeah, and I love that. And then Saint Anger,
It's my favourite album.
Well, You know, I actually listened to a couple of songs the other day. I remember when that come out, I was absolutely mortified. Like Metallica for me were the like
fucking sellouts.
I woke up in the morning, I listened to Metallica, I listened to them on the way to school, I listened to them at dinner time in my Walkman. I would listen to them on the way back, and I came home and I played guitar to Metallica songs, and then did the same thing the next day. And I was like the world's biggest Metallica fan. And then Saint Anger came out, and I tried so hard to like it, but I just couldn't. It was just so, because it was so different, you know, different again from anything they'd done. It was like thrash punk, metal. I have no idea, but you know, the sound was just appalling. It really is. There's no getting around that. The production on that album is,
and I mean, I know we joke about it being a long time ago. It was a while ago that now, but even back then, you didn't have. Thing was as well, you didn't have social media, and you didn't have access to YouTube, and you didn't have access to fill your desire for your favourite band. Like Metallica, you couldn't go online and watch a concert. You couldn't see exclusive footage. You couldn't watch interviews with the band at your fingertips. All you had was magazines.
Yeah.
And our albums coming out, they might not be in every magazine. They might be in a magazine once every 3-4 months. You get an album once every few years. So when that album comes out, and that is the only two the only two contacts you have with this band you love so much, when the album is not up your street, it's like a big thing, innit? Yeah. It's not like you can go online and still be, wait for the next album. It's right. I've got all this shit to get dive into. You know, it's a fucking big deal, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. But now I listen back to it now. And you know, again, it's just another side to Metallica. Yeah. And the songs aren't that bad. I still don't know what they're thinking with the production. Like it's terrible. Like, it's really, really not good.
I have listened to it a long, long time ago. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't listen. Maybe I should give it a listen. I don't know.
Not just the snare drum, not just the famous snare drum. Just everything about it. You know, it's obviously they've obviously gone like, let's make it sound like a bit lo-fi.
I do like the cover though.
It's good. Yeah, it's cool.
The album cover's great.
I'm sure there's a song. Is it Sweet Amber? That's an all right. That's a good song. But anyway, now listening back, it's like it's cool that they've, again, if you were fancied that, you know, you could go and listen to that. And I'm glad they didn't just write reload. You know what I mean? Another fucking.
Well, even when they released that album, Lulu, is it?
Yes.
But I mean, I'm not as big a Metallica fan as you. So I don't follow their albums coming out. To be quite honest with you, I've listened to the last few, and they're great. I'm not an avid fan, that keen. But when that came out, I couldn't help thinking, you know what? They're fucking fair. I don't care. Fair enough.
No.
They've done enough great stuff over the years, and you know they wanted to do this, and they've been ballsy enough to take their reputation and give this weird idea a go. And I haven't even listened to it, to be honest, but I kind of admired.
Well, I've always said it can't, as long as you're not boring. You know, which is boring and kind of meh. You know, that is the worst thing I think anyone in any kind of creative art.
I agree.
It can be. You know, boring and predictable.
It's not predictable, that album, was it?
No, it ain't. No, we couldn't.
It's one thing it wasn't. It was
no one predicted that. Collaboration with Lou Reed. But anyway, yeah. Other bands, I guess.
Have AC/DC ever strayed from the path?
No, but again, though, there are subtleties. We've talked about this before. There are subtleties within the. Again, it's a production thing.
Yeah.
Razor's Edge sounds nothing like even other Johnson albums. You know, it sounds nothing like Flick of the Switch. You know, they've got.
No, it doesn't. No.
Different kind of urgency about it. It's dead dry.
I listened to. I did a bit of an interview the other day for Classic Rock magazine, and I listened to Power Up.
The latest one. Yeah.
The latest one. You know, it's some great songs on it. Yeah, and they sound great. Johnson sounds amazing.
They've adapted
for his age.
Yeah,
I don't know, he must be 70 odd, but he's like this dirty, classy blues thing going on.
I think they've aged quite gracefully.
I think so.
For you know, for a band where the lead guitarist dresses as a bloody schoolboy,
as an 8-year-old boy,
they've aged quite well musically. They're not trying to write Whole Lot of Rosie again.
No.
They are.
That album to me sounds very bluesy. Like it's gone like proper like.
Well, they started that really like back in like Stiff Upper Lip. You know, that's
yeah.
It's about the boogie and the groove, isn't it? Really, Yeah, amazing.
It's almost pulled. I listened to it. It's like it's almost very pulled back in places. Yeah. It's not all guns blazing at all. No. It's just like really great licks and riffs and stuff, and Johnson's all that business.
It's got sleazy kind of. It's brilliant. Yeah, I'll always give the new DC albums a spin. You know, I'm not because that it's not easy to write that kind of music. No. You know,
and remain in people's. Keep people's interest, yeah. But yeah. Well, Muse are another big band. Now, they're more of a modern band, aren't they?
They are not shy of going off on a.
I love it. I think it's amazing. I love it when bands do that. Whether it's amazing or not, I think it's great.
Well, they did that.
So it gives them a power. It gives them a. Just
a depth. Really.
It does. Yeah, I think it's great.
They did that. Resistance album, so that was like the first, I think, big kind of concept album they did. Some big songs on that, like Uprising and the Resistance, great. And then they did did an album called The First Law, and that's a song on it called Madness, which is like it's Queen basically.
Right.
That was their kind of like pomp kind of Queen sort of. There's a huge Queen. It sounds a lot like I Want to Break Free.
Right.
And, they kind of very obviously wearing that kind of influence. And then they did that Drones album, back to, the dark leather rock, full-on kind of rock album. And then they went super electronic again. In the space of 10 years, they kind of covered all kind of all areas.
It keeps it interesting for them, doesn't it? They must. You don't want to write the same albums. You want to try something new. That's where all the best. That's when all your best stuff comes from, is when you're pushing your own sort of creative being, in your brain. It's like, right, desperate not to. I know that I desperately try not to write the same stuff, about the same things. If I write the same words and it sounds like something else, or it's the same topic or something, I'll just go, oh, fucking hell, I don't want to. Nobody would probably care, to be honest. But
no, but you've got to. If you hold yourself to that standard, then no one's really gonna. Then no one else certainly will ever. Criticize you for sounding like that. If you, excuse me.
But it does get hard after 10 years to try and think of new things to write songs about. I'll be honest.
Yes, yeah, I get that. It's the same. It's the same with music. I really, I'm full of ideas at the minute, but it's picking the right ones. And for the first time ever, I feel conscious of like what ideas musically should we develop? Should I bring to the table?
Well, taking big side steps like Muse do and stuff, that's one way of avoiding sounding stale and boring and
The other thing though, Muse have the luxury of being they can sell stadiums out. It doesn't matter what they do.
I suppose they can, can't
they? Could have an absolute completely flop album and there'd still be a sell out world tours, So it's a little bit different, we do have to cater, I guess. Not that I don't want to, but we have to be conscious of the growing fan base that we're developing. Not to completely pull the rug out from under everyone.
Hey!
You know what I mean?
What's that, lads?
We do have to a band at our level, really. You've got to bear that in mind because you're still developing our brand and still finding our sound. But I honestly think though that we are getting to the point where we have, like you said, created something that is fairly unique. And the last review, a few of the reviews we've got for the last album mentioned that, saying like these lads have slowly carved a niche out of
like lads who don't sound like they don't know what they're doing.
This complete joke of a band.
This genre of confused musicians.
No, but it's true though, and that is built up over time. You can't.
If you do it that many times, people start to think, well, maybe they're not confused. Maybe they do know what they want.
This is it, I think there's a bit of, there's maybe, I think we've got a little bit of integrity, about what we do, a little bit, tiny bit, fractions, a midget's dick.
Yeah.
Of integrity.
But we listen to a lot of music, don't we? A lot of influences and stuff, and we're big fans of all sorts of music, I think that's where it comes from. Yep. But anyway, here we are. 10 seconds left.
Right, we'll wind it up. See you next time, guys. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe, all that.
All right, ring the bell.
All that shizzle, It does help. Leave a comment. Thank you.
Oasis are great.